ladies and sinners. Welcome to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. This is IE Vegas. You know how it works. And this is IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. We're back at it again. Another Tuesday evening edition, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about all things Vegas sports. The fastest growing sports market in America. I swear it. I mean it. We have 2 championship teams. We won't have another one from the Raiders. We know how that is. I will get to that, back half of the show. You guys, apologies for late notice. A little bit of computer trouble. Got that figured out. And again, folks, we're talking about it. We're talking about UNLV. We're talking about how Golden Knights are still the best team in the West right now. Hot. Kicking ass, taking names, hashtag Vegas porn. They don't play around. Lady Aces season, off-season is underway. Off-season training is underway. That season will begin here in the next couple of months, and we will keep you posted on that. And the Raiders. We'll call this Victory Tuesday. Victory Tuesday. Normally it's a Victory Monday. You want Victory Monday after a big win, all right? I can't say it's a big win because it was the Denver Broncos, and I don't know if any team sucks as bad as the Broncos right now, or as pathetic as the Broncos. But we'll cover that here at the back half of the show. Again, this is the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. When we get back, we will start in on them UNLV Rebels. Welcome back to the Sin City Sports Show, folks. IE Vegas, presented by IE Sports Radio, direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. We're back at it again, folks. Join us, interact with us on our Twitter feed, right? At SinCity_IESR. You can get at me on my personal, at Cale_Henderson. And before we get into the show, we got to talk about the platform that we do our show on, IE Sports Radio. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, hosted by the man, the myth, the legend himself, who is also in the chat room, chanting Vegas, chanting Raiders as we speak. The defining moment. Thank you all very much for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. I want to say thank you to those folks in the chat, Taryn Rodriguez, Adam Karnick, Larry B, you guys are going at it today. And because of that, I always play your guys' drops. You guys are always consistent, and I'm going to give you guys love because you're always listening into my show, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. UNLV, tough loss. Okay, UNLV is better than what they were the last couple of years. I got to give them credit. But they've still fallen short, especially starting off 4-2. You would expect them to win 2 more of those games, 2 more of those final 6 games, and they did not. They have not so far, right? It's unfortunate. Is Coach Arroyo in trouble? I can't quite say Coach Arroyo's in trouble, but with the amenities that Las Vegas has now in place, the amenities, the Rebels, they have their own football facility now. $40 million football facility. They have their own section at Allegiant Stadium. They are a legitimate Mountain West team now. Like, some of their facilities are better than the rest of the Mountain West by far. And it says something, okay? I'll say it like this. I think Marcus Arroyo has to have a bowl game next year. I do believe Vegas will see the improvement. I do believe Vegas will put into the account the injuries that happen at key points of the year. Remember, guys, this team was out without Doug Brumfield and Babin, essentially their star running back who's run for over 1,000 yards this year. They were without both of them. Without both of them for a good 3 to 4 game stretch, right? And I'd say 3 game stretch, they were both out. In that 4th game, they weren't completely healthy basically going into a game against Notre Dame. They didn't play much. Why would you? You're not going to put, your two horses that are coming back on the mend against, what is basically just a layup game against Notre Dame, right? Maybe not because, Notre Dame lost earlier in the season, but at that time, Notre Dame was surging back, okay? I'm not putting my quarterback and my star running back at risk against Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's not worth it to me. Let them pay our university to come in and play them. Get your younger guys some reps. Yes, it was a whomping. It wasn't as bad as you think it was. I think it was a chilly day there in South Bend. But listen, you take care of your players. Those players come back. It's just been stinker after stinker after stinker. And right now, the bowl eligibility is out. There's no way UNLV makes a bowl game unless some team comes out and does the academic honors like we saw with the Nebraska Cornhuskers and that pathetic crap where they were 5-7 and they were like, oh, these guys are really smart and they did well and we're desperate for a team and they'll travel, so let's go ahead and bring them on at 5-7. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen for UNLV. I just don't see it. UNLV bowl hopes end in Hawaii, according to the Las Vegas Journal. Frustration is an understatement. And it is what it is. And again, there comes the question, will Marcus Arroyo be a part of the staff next year? Will he be the head coach? This is his third season. He has a losing record at this time. He took over this program at a point where, yes, Larry, yeah, they did that. Dude, while we talk about that, it's so funny you bring that up. And I'm trying to remember what year that was. I think they had Tommy Armstrong. It was one of his last years. Nebraska, it was back in 2015. Nebraska needed a special rule to make a bowl at 5-7. And I'm only bringing this up because Larry B asked a question, right? The Huskers are the second 5-7 team to win this bowl season. Okay. So, Foster Farms Bowl, they beat the Bruins 37-29. They didn't deserve to be there. But we're able to go bowling because of academic progress rate scores of the previous Nebraska teams. So essentially, the previous Nebraska teams weren't getting it done in the classroom, right? Or as well as normal. They showed consistent progress over a 3-year period, and a bowl game was able to invite them even at a 5-7 record in 2015, right? Here's my theory, and you guys can tell me whatever you want. I think that Nebraska was chosen because it's Nebraska. Foster Farms is saying, dude, their fans are crazy. They'll spend the money to come out here. We're going to bring them in. Yes, this bowl exemption may be available, but I swear it's only for teams that can really travel and spend money. And Nebraska's a storybook program, one of the blue chips, one of the top 10 winningest programs of all college football. So, of course, the Foster Farms Bowl, if they have the opportunity, is going to invite them. Again, that was back in 2015. I'm sorry, but UNLV is not the same type of program. All right. Do I think UNLV could probably compete with Nebraska right now? Yes. Georgia Southern beat Nebraska at home. I think UNLV could probably, cause some problems too. Maybe lose to Nebraska, but they would still cause some problems. They're not the same program. I don't see a bowl game like Foster Farms or whatever coming out and saying, hey, you guys have seen academic progress. Let's go ahead and give you an opportunity to play at 5-7 in a bowl game. Just don't see it happening. All right. Marcus Arroyo has an asterisk right now. I don't know what to say about him. It wouldn't surprise me if Las Vegas said, okay, let's move on. There's some guys out there that we can hire to help bring this program along. There's also been improvement. You see improvement in recruiting, right? Brumfield didn't stay here by accident, okay? It is what it is, okay? There were a couple games this season UNLV probably shouldn't have been playing. Playing Notre Dame sucks. That's almost a guaranteed loss. Like, come on. You're getting paid to lose. Like, I think it was like $750,000. You're going to take it and run with it, but it kind of sucks when you're trying to progress your program that you're playing a juggernaut like again, this isn't the same Notre Dame this year. We get that. But UNLV is still trying to make steps, still trying to take steps to improve. No different than a lot of other programs, but it is what it is. The Rebels, listen, on paper, this upcoming week, they're an 11-point favorite. They were an 11-point favorite against Hawaii. They lost to Hawaii 31-25 in Honolulu on senior night. Happens, man. Sometimes you just don't win those games. I'm happy for the Rainbow Warriors, but guess what? The Rebels, they're not bowl eligible. Rainbow Warriors aren't either. Rainbow Warriors had nothing to lose. And all realistically, they had nothing to lose. It didn't surprise me that they went after him hard. And it is what it is, man. They're going to have to learn. But again, Coach Marcus Arroyo, in my opinion, his job could be up for grabs. It could be up for grabs. It's tough, man. When you have 3 straight losing seasons, again, you took over in a COVID year. Tough. That sucks. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, okay? Your recruiting was limited to almost nothing, especially when you're in the Mountain West and you're trying to compete against the big programs, right? The recruiting was cheeks. You had 6 games, essentially, half a season, right? Had a horrible, horrible half a season. Had a losing record. Following season, losing record. This year, it's going to be a losing record. They're going to be 5-7 if they beat Nevada, and that's not a given, right? This could be a 4-8 team now, and you're still trying to make progress. I don't like it, and I don't feel good about Coach Arroyo. I think that they're going to listen. I believe that this university is going to put into their mind. Listen, there was improvement before the injuries, but anything could happen. College football is like any other thing now. It's a business. All right, you're trying to attract recruits. You don't put $40 million in a football facility and go 4-8. It's not okay. It's not realistic. Let's hope they venture well. I do believe they beat Nevada and go 5-7, but still, that leaves them not below eligible unless they have some crazy academic standards and fans willing to travel. I just don't see it happening. So it's definitely some frustration in Las Vegas with the Rebels right now. There was progress. They started out 4-2. Had some injuries happen. It happens. That's just a small recap. And since then, they've basically been, you guys get it, 0-5 since that 4-2 start. Stinks. It's not what you want to see. Hopefully they can finish out the year on a positive note, go into recruiting this offseason with some momentum. It'd be very nice. We'd love to see that because UNLV, again, when they were chugging along earlier in the season, they were fun to watch. They were putting up 50 burgers, and it was awesome. Really exciting football to watch. Golden Knights are underway. Golden Knights are kicking ass as usual. Won yesterday 5-4 against the Canucks. They are currently 15-4-2 on the season now. Sorry, 15-4-1 on the season now. Top of the West. They are 2 positions behind the Bruins and the Devils, who have just shot off to. Bruins are at a crazy start, 17-2 right now, 34 points. They're kicking ass. They're probably the best team in hockey. The New Jersey Devils are killing it too, 16-3. Behind them is the 3rd best record in the NHL, the Golden Knights at 15-4-1. They have their 1-game win streak. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10 games, and the Golden Knights are firing on all cylinders. Listen, Jack Eichel is just playing like a man possessed. Okay, he's playing very well. He's playing like the guy that Buffalo was expecting for a few years. Okay, Logan Thompson's playing better in goalie. I got to give him credit. He's doing an excellent job. Jonathan Marshall doing what he has to do. Adam Karnick chimes in. The Devils are just bizarre. 13 straight wins. It is crazy, man. Like, you started off 3-3 and 13 straight wins. That's incredible. It's fantastic. Taryn, what's up, brother? So happy to see you in here. On a brighter note, UNLV's women's volleyball team won the Mountain West Conference regular season championship and are the #1 seed in the MWC tournament. That is badass, man. The Mountain West Conference tournament. That is so cool, man. Make sure you keep us up to date on that, all right? How does UNLV lose to Hawaii? This isn't volleyball. UNLV has to beat Hawaii. Agree. We talked about that. We touched on that. Hawaii was a 2-win team going into that game. The Rainbow Warriors have had a really hard time since the Colt Brennan days, man. Like, really hard time sustaining success, and it's just been bad. Just kind of going back through the old chat, guys, so excuse me. Adam Karnick says, LOL, Taryn, love that Broncos tagline. Man, the Broncos suck. Broncos country, let's hide. Great job, Taryn. Yeah, I don't think there's anything more cringy than Russell Wilson in the NFL right now, guys. The dude seems like a method actor playing quarterback. Like, he's just not real. He doesn't seem real. You have to have you have to go through his management team to talk to him and have a relationship. The dude's weird. Okay, I just don't believe in him. It's obvious that Seattle was masking so many things. It's not to the same degree, so don't take this the wrong way. But you guys remember the Antonio Brown situation, okay? Now, Russell Wilson's nowhere near that bad. Nowhere near that, right? We're talking speculation on his character and him being a method actor. He should probably get an Oscar or sports Oscar or whatever for the way he's been acting the last few years. But Antonio Brown, like, look at what the Steelers masked all those years. Like, they were willing to part ways with a Pro Bowl, All-Pro wide receiver for just a 3rd and a 5th to the suckers who are the Raiders. Okay? To me, in my mind, the Steelers were masking things that were happening nonstop for years. And I think Seattle's the same way with Russell. I don't think people really knew the truth about Russell, what was going on. I think Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch and those guys are being very professional, and they're not really sharing their opinions on Russell Wilson necessarily. I think they're doing a great job being professional teammates. They don't necessarily love the guy, but they respect him because they went to battle with him over those years in Seattle when they were basically ruling the NFL. Look, there's something going on with Russell Wilson. I can't expand on that much further than the dude just weirds me out. Okay, the Let's Ride, that whole thing, it's dead. It's gone. And I'm going to say this right now. I think Nathaniel Hackett's going to be one of the first coaches fired on Black Monday. For real. Nathaniel Hackett has been an absolute embarrassment. He has tons of talent, people to throw to. I understand Tim Patrick got injured before the season started. But the Broncos have legitimately the number one defense in the league, and they can't seem to stop the Raiders from scoring 22 points, a team that was really struggling before this last week. I don't get it. Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, man. They're going to have to pick Russell Wilson because they paid him way too much money to fail. Golden Knights, back to the Golden Knights, folks, just to kind of get back on topic before we go to break and get back into our Raiders. Golden Knights are killing it. They play tomorrow. They play tomorrow, 9 p.m., so 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that will be against the Ottawa Senators at the T-Mobile Arena, and I'm hoping they continue to kick ass. They play the Kraken, Canucks, so they got a 3-game home stretch here against not a very good team, so hopefully they can get that 4-game win streak going. Okay, right now they're on 1 game. Hopefully they can get 4 game and continue to win hockey games because they do that. I think this is a dangerous team, man. I don't think this is somebody people want to play in the Stanley Cup. I don't think this is somebody people want to play in the Western Conference. So hopefully the Golden Knights keep it up. Jack Eichel stays strong. Mark Stone continues to back him up, and this team just keeps trucking along because right now they're playing with house money. We got to see it. We're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders on Victory Tuesday here on IE Sports Radio. Again, this is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
college football? And do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I Single A in the FBS? Well then look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Feel that? You guys feel that energy? That music just brings something out. Welcome back to the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. Back at it another Tuesday edition, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on IE Sports Radio. Tune in. Get involved with us on Twitter, by the way, at SinCity_IESR. Get at me on my personal, at Cale_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports. Honestly, all things sports all the time in my personal. I'm all over the place, but it is what it is. Especially Warzone, okay? I have been addicted to Warzone lately. Now that the football season's done, I need extra things to do, and that is one of the things that we're talking about. We got some play breakdowns, guys. I have some small clips that I'm definitely going to be sharing on the Twitter. And again, I will be brainstorming with Larry B. the best way to break down plays. We got 7 games left. We're definitely going to get this going. Taryn Rodriguez says, this theme is bumping. I know, dude. I know. I felt it one day when Larry said, hey, pick out some music. This is something that I felt like I needed to add to the show. Brings the energy coming back from the break. You got The Rock getting you all jacked up, excited, ready to take some pre-workout just to listen to the show, right? You got that rock music, the intro, and we got this coming back from the break. Feels really good. Feels really good. You also know what feels good? A Raiders W. Yeah, and Mark Davis, just so you guys understand, Mark Davis just filed the trademark Win City. Yeah, not Sin City, Win City. And it's just that on this Victory Tuesday. They beat the Broncos, and unfortunately, the only 2 of their 3 wins is the Broncos. And you got to love it because it's a division rival. But the Broncos are just trash. Like, the Raiders are terrible. I'm not a fan right now. I'm very disappointed in the season. Let's be real. They should have at least 3 or 4 more wins on this record, okay? You should have beaten the Cardinals because you were up 20-0 at half, okay? You should have beaten the Chiefs. I'm not going to count that one. But you should have beaten the Chiefs because you were up at 3 scores at one point against the Chiefs. They just out-adjusted you and outplayed you. So I'm not going to count that one. But the Saints, the Jaguars, right? The Colts, all 3 of those games, including the Cardinals, should have probably been wins. And honestly, the Saints whooped on the Raiders. They just came better prepared. So let's just call it what it is. The Cardinals, the Jaguars, and the Colts all should have been wins. This should be, as we speak right here, right now on IE Sports Radio, this should be a 7-3 team. This should be a 7-3 team going into Seattle. But it's not. And here's why. And we've talked about it the last couple weeks. I wish this team and this coaching staff would come with the same damn energy every single week that they do against the Broncos. They've won 6 straight games. Whatever that recipe is, man, to beating down one of the top 10 defenses every single time you play them, at least the last 6 times, needs to be their damn energy every time they go into games. Because they have a recipe for beating the Broncos. It is running it down their throat and beating the tar out of the donkeys. Okay? Those crapsters in Denver. I can't stand Broncos country. They're not as arrogant or as bad as Chiefs fans. Don't get me wrong. All right? And they're not as dumb as Los Angeles fans. All right? Larry sees whatever's in that pregame meal. You ain't lying, brother. I'm ready to go. But listen, yeah, dude, what are they having? Like fajitas? Are they having like boiled eggs that have been sitting in the sun? Boiled by being cooked in the hot Las Vegas? What is going on? Dude, I don't get it, okay? And it comes down to coaching. It really does. It comes down to coaching. I love the pictures that I hope you guys tune into our Twitter page, Sin City at Sin City _IESR. Go there. I posted a video and I posted a page, or I retweeted a video and I retweeted a picture. It was of Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels celebrating together. You have Dave Ziegler in the background just jacked out of his mind because the Raiders just won a game. And listen, it was a 5-game stretch where it's like, dude, nothing could go their way. Really. Nothing seemed to be going their way. They were trying. It's not they weren't trying hard, guys. Here's the recipe. And straight up, I've said it on Twitter all year. The Raiders have had a habit, and this is why I say it's on coaching. The Raiders have had a habit of staying ahead of the sticks, okay? They're getting to 2nd and 6. They're getting to 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 2. And then one of those dumbass offensive linemen think it's okay to hold the next play. I understand they're not trying to. But it is what it is, guys. And when it's habitual and it's plagued you the entire season, when you're one of the top 10 most penalized teams in the NFL for 20 years, that's a cultural thing. That is a coaching thing, okay? That means you're not focusing on those basic fundamentals and techniques of practice. And I promise you a lot of it was because those idiots were rotating linemen those first 4 games. Like there was 3 or 4 separate rotations of offensive linemen in those first 4 games. Of course there was no continuity, and of course those guys have not had the quality reps they've needed to at specific positions. Granted, positive. I will say this. Thank you, Jermaine Illuminor, for stepping in at left tackle for Colton Miller, who is a top 10 left tackle in this league. Dude stepped in. He only allowed a few pressures. He actually played really well against a very good Broncos defense. This defense has not been the same since Bradley Chubb was traded away. They're idiots. Broncos are idiots, but they needed something back after spending all of that draft capital and all that senseless money on washed-up Wilson. Okay? This Raiders offensive line, if they played every single game the way they play the Broncos defense, which is a top 5 defense, what seems every single year, they were the number 1 defense as of Sunday, by the way. They had only allowed 20 points twice this season. And guess which team did that? The Raiders. That's how good the Broncos have played on defense this year. Granted, the Broncos have played a 4th place schedule, and the teams they've been playing are trash. But it is what it is. I digress. The Raiders got to play some of those teams too, and they got to finish out some of those games. All right? Straight up. Penalties at the worst times. Weird play calling at the worst times. Lack of execution in the same areas, right? Consistently. Bad tackling. That's all coaching. When your team is consistently getting out-coached after halftime, that means the team you're playing against is making adjustments that your coaching staff is not. All right? I know some of these players are going to take the fall because Mark Davis and his epic bowl cut is totally in on Josh McDaniels. Don't believe the whole he's too poor to fire Josh McDaniels BS. The dude literally made a Oakland team, moved him to Vegas, and went from $970 million to $4.8 billion in worth in less than 3 years. Don't listen to that crap, okay? Larry B said, "Hey, look, it's an information." Take a look here. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm guessing you deleted that. Karnick said, "Yeah, but they're the Broncos. That D isn't a swinging gate, but it's not an iron safe either." No, and it's because they don't have an offense to complement them. Football is a game of complementary sports, man. It is what it is. Larry B said, "Hey, it's an I formation." Better get a dime package out there. Dude, no joke. Like, what are we doing? Especially defensively, man. Like, listen, Max Crosby and those boys showed up to play. But it was rough, dude. It's been rough all season. They're the 28th ranked defense in the league right now. 28th. They were 22nd last year with Gus Bradley. Chandler Jones has been non-existent this year. Max is out there doing it himself. You had a rookie by the name of TJ Hall, who's a DB out of who knows university, making a sack. He's got half a sack more than Chandler Jones this year. And we don't know who that kid is. That's where I'm at with the Raiders right now. There's too goddamn inconsistent. But here's the positives. Your offense is starting to click, and we can't say it isn't. Look at the last few games. Derek Carr and Devontae are really starting to figure it out. They're really starting to figure it out. They run a spread. Let's run a bear front. Yeah, 4-6. That's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah, 100%. They would. They would remove their DBs and put linebackers on receivers. They're stupid. I don't know what they're doing over there, man. It's crazy. And to think that they're out coaching, it's just nuts to me. But there's positives, man. There's positives around the corner. Look at what Derek Carr did yesterday. Or I'm sorry. This is Victory Tuesday. Look at what Derek Carr did on Sunday. All the crap he's been receiving the last few weeks about how he can't lead the team to victory, how he can't clutch it up. The dude has 26 fourth quarter comebacks. He has 32 game-winning drives in his career since 2014, the highest in the NFL. That is not a good that's an amazing stat for a quarterback. That means you are composed under pressure. Composed under pressure. The problem is your team is so damn bad that you have to come back 32 damn times in your NFL career, your 9-year NFL career. That is ridiculous, man. That is nearly an average of 4 games a year that you have to come back, and no other quarterback has to deal with that. And I am so tired of people saying Derek Carr is the problem. There's even rumors out there saying Aaron Rodgers will be a Raider next year. I'm not going to say no, right? Because he's Aaron Rodgers. There's 3 quarterbacks in the NFL that I would completely replace Derek Carr with. 3, right? 4. We'll go 4, okay? 2 of them are in our division. I would take Patrick Mahomes. I would take Justin Herbert's upside. I would take Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is what he is. Imagine him with Devontae Adams and Darren Waller. Good God. And that run game from Josh Jacobs. and an offensive line that is revamped. Imagine him, dude. He'd be a perfect fit here. A veteran quarterback with an offensive coordinator that's not good at developing quarterbacks, but is great at lucking out and getting Hall of Fame quarterbacks, throwing the ball for him. Come on, man. Like, that would be an amazing fit, right? So there's those three guys. Lamar Jackson. I'll say it. Lamar Jackson. And if we're being honest, if we're talking upside, Jalen Hurts would probably be a close fifth. Maybe. But I don't think that there's more than 4 quarterbacks in this league, theoretically, that I would trade Derek Carr for. He's got so much damn upside. And what we saw on Sunday was exactly what I was talking about. Okay? That man has done nothing but be a professional. He's done nothing but work his ass off, and he's done nothing but take unfair criticism from Raiders and experts, analysts out there for years. I'm not a Carr stan. Don't get me wrong. I like Derek Carr, the player. I love his arm talent. I'm not necessarily saying he's the elite quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's some mess out there that people think he's bad. And it's not true. He's been on a bad franchise, man. He was drafted to an impossible situation. One of the worst run franchises the last 20 years. And the dude's handled it with class, dignity, and he still kept this team in games. I'm telling you, the Raiders wouldn't have a quarter of the wins that they have the last 9 years if this dude isn't on the team. We'd be a 3-13 or 4-12 team every single year. Now 4-13 because of the extra game. And Larry's 100% correct. Taryn and Larry are fully spot on. Derek Carr is not the problem. Not all of it at least. Correct. Okay? He has issues and he has limitations. I think he's learning a brand new offense for the 6th time in his damn career. And that's got to be taxing, man. And it took a while to get things going. But look at what's going on now. You have the number 1 ranked pass defense in the league that you just threw 307 yards against and 2 touchdowns. Yes, you have the best receiver in the NFL. I still think Devontae is the best receiver in the NFL. But it's starting to heat up. And they did it against Patrick Surtain, Kareem Jackson, like those dudes who are very, very good in coverage. Excellent. Devontae made Patrick Surtain, who at one point people are wondering, man, is this the best corner in the NFL this year? Right? He made him look sorry. And it's not his fault. He's got a ton of potential. Patrick Surtain, I'd take him on the Raiders any day, twice on Sunday. You guys get what I'm saying. Devontae's just that good. And Derek has done this every single year with crap injuries, man. There's no Renfrow or Waller. Renfrow, Waller, and Adams have played a total of 38 snaps together this season. 38. Otherwise, the other 2 have been non-existent. Even when Renfrow was healthy, he was running into his own players. He's just not the same guy. He's got to adapt. These guys all have to adapt. The good news is, and again, we're back to the positives. Nate Hobbs will be back in I think this upcoming week. This is the year Nate Hobbs comes off of IR, the 4-week IR. Whether the Raiders rush him back or not, I don't know. Maybe they save him for LA. Maybe if the Raiders win against the Seahawks and they start going on a run, they're 4-7, right? You get a 2-win streak going. Nate Hobbs is back for that Chargers game, which would help a ton for our Chargers team that even though they're 5-5, they're still dangerous. Even though they're 5-5, and I think their head coach Brandon Staley is not as good as people think he is, they're still very dangerous. Nate Hobbs is back. The following week against the Rams, I believe Hunter Renfrow, actually I think it's not this week, but the next week, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller will be eligible to return from IR as well. There's a possibility we have Nate Hobbs, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller all back from IR to play the Chargers. And that's something nobody's talking about. The Raiders have been missing Darren Waller for almost 8 games. No BS. What's up, Taryn? No, I mean, it is what it is, man. Even though the Chargers are 5-5, they're still extremely dangerous. They're scary. I don't like their coach. I think he's the problem right now. I do. I think Brandon Staley's missing something because they have a crap load of talent in LA. 5-5 is just crazy. But Larry, I 100% agree. We need our guys. We need our guys back. We need them healthy. Imagine this, though. You have Derek and Devontae really starting to hit on all cylinders here. Teams are really going to start doubling and bracketing Devontae because they have no choice. Renfrow and Waller are back. You cannot, and this is what we've been talking about all season, with the way Jacobs has been running, which has been a man-possessed this season, okay? Still don't understand why they spent a third-round pick on Zeus, right, Zamir White, and not run him. But that's another story. We'll save that for another show because we only got 5 more minutes. I apologize for the late start and the computer issues. But Josh Jacobs has been running like a man-possessed. Derek Carr is starting to heat up. He's 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions to start that first half of the season, right? He got 7 games left. Devontae Adams is having the best season of his career right now at 10 touchdowns. He's got 10 touchdowns on the season. Teams are going to start bracketing him. They can't bracket him and leave Darren Waller unaccounted for. Leave Hunter Renfrow unaccounted for. Matt Collins, even though he looks like a dumbass out there sometimes, is making progress and starting to catch balls when we need him to. This is probably the time where we need to start chilling out and think, dude, if the Raiders win the next 6 of 7 games, go 9-8, they're probably the last seed in the playoffs. Taryn says Waller and Renfrow won't be eligible to return until the Rams game. Okay, but the Rams are a mess. Okay, exactly. So I'm going to say it like this, man. Let's say the Raiders somehow squeak out the next 2 games. Somehow. You have a Seattle team which really isn't that good. Geno's not as good as people have made him out to be, okay? It is what it is. I think Pete Carroll and them are doing a really good job of keeping that team relevant. You have a Chargers team that's struggling for some reason, but they're probably going to figure it out against the Raiders because that's something they would do. Although, this is a home game for the Raiders. That's kind of a big deal because the Raiders tend to show up against the Chargers. That place is lit. The Raiders don't have near as much talent, didn't have as near as much talent last year against the Chargers, and they still won. So it's not a count out. If you can win these next 2 games and go into the Rams fully healthy with Renfrow and Waller back, you have the Rams, the Patriots, I think it's the Steelers, Niners, and then the Chiefs. And I'm not worried about the Chiefs, and here's why. I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, and why the hell would they play their starters more than a quarter in a game that's meaningless to them? They're a Super Bowl contending team. I think in Week 17, it's almost a guaranteed win for the Raiders. Like, it's going to be lopsided, like a couple score win, because the Chiefs aren't going to play their starters. Why would you? Why would you risk it? If the Raiders take care of the next 6 games, they're almost coasting to a 7th win against the Chiefs. That's all they have to do is focus up and play better than what they've been playing. And you do that, simply put, by eliminating those stupid penalties that have plagued them all year. Going from 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 12 are different animals, man. Especially when you're missing a couple players. Especially when your offensive line is allowing pressures on almost 43% of the snaps. 43% of the passing snaps. One of the worst statistics in the NFL. The Raiders O-line is hot garbage. Their running O-line, though, however, is really good. I want to say they're top 10. Huge disparity, but a lot of that has to do with a young offensive line trying to get together and learn. I think next year it's going to be a different offensive line, especially with some additions. It's going to happen through the draft. The Raiders have 12 draft picks. I don't think they waste that. So you're looking at an excellent run game, which is what you need going into the playoffs. You have 2 players that could be coming back. Even if you lose one of the next 2 and you win out, again, you're looking at a 9-8 season, and you're probably looking at the last seed in the playoffs, and that's still a W, man. Because the people were expecting this team to be a playoff team. It would be a great recovery. It would look good for Josh McDaniels. I still think it's a bit of an acting job. I can't totally trust him, but I have a feeling that Carr will be back for the 10th season. Because something tells me in that video, in that picture, that Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels really want Derek Carr to succeed here. I also think they have an affinity for veteran quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers would be like the only solution in my mind that would allow them to make a change at quarterback, especially with the progress we're starting to see. If Derek Carr throws for, 14, 15 more touchdowns this season, which is very doable against these defenses, I truly believe that they will keep Derek Carr. All right, if he minimizes turnovers, he's actually done a much better job this year. He hasn't really lost as many fumbles. He's had fumbles, but he hasn't lost as many. He's taking care of the football a little better this year, and I think the run game helps. Okay, This is the time of year for that run game and that pass rush to really start coming around. Those guys getting back healthy is going to help. If Derek Carr and Davante Adams can figure out a way to get about 6 more touchdowns before the season's done, and then get Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow a few touchdowns apiece, this team could be playoff bound. And I get it. That's an optimistic thing after a win against the Broncos of all teams. But momentum builds, man. You beat the Broncos. You beat a Seattle team, which you should beat. I think the Raiders are a better team. I don't know, man. Going into that Chargers game, there's some momentum there. You've normally played the Chargers very close. I think Derek Carr and Adams are really starting to find that mustard. And the design plays at the end of the game by Josh McDaniels was fantastic. That double look on the right side, and we're going to post that on the Sin City IE Sports Radio Twitter, right? At SinCity_IESR. It is designed that Mac Hollins is legitimately going to run underneath Davante Adams, who is giving, the two of them are giving crossing route looks. Davante then cuts it to a post corner almost. And he was wide open, man. It was an excellent play design. Derek Carr was inches from having his ball, hit out of his hand, by the way. But it was an amazing, amazing throw. Amazing, amazing throw. Okay? So there's positives, man. Plenty of negatives. Like, the record is a huge negative because there's at least 3 games they should have won, which would make a huge difference for this team right now. But it is what it is. They're a 3-7 team fighting for their life, fighting for their playoff hopes. Winning the next 2 games would be paramount. The Raiders win the next 2 games, you're looking at a 5-7 team, and people thinking, oh, maybe they can go on that run again. Can they win 8 straight? I don't know. That's tough. But I've seen different, man. And if you're getting healthy at the right time, you get Darren Waller back, and Josh McDaniels can really figure out a way to use Darren Waller like he used Foster Moreau in that last game, which was a beautiful trap play action pass that they ran. Sky's the limit, man. I just think they need to get creative. Keep it simple, but be creative. Makes a huge difference. Seriously. Difference between good and bad teams' records is 1 possession games, 100%. 100%. That's what made the Raiders different last year. They had like 8 come from behind victories last year, which is unparamount. It's unprecedented, right? I don't know. It's got to repeat itself if this team wants to win. Regardless, you guys know what it is, man. We're Raiders fans for life, but we're real about it. As always, folks, this is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Make sure you guys tune in every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we keep it real. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. Get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR, at Cale_Henderson. And as always, folks, love, peace, and hair grease.